Hello everybody, how are you today? I got a little chat GPT. Hey, hey. I forgot I gotta have my headphones on to hear this thing. Chat GPT, how are you?
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
Nice. I wanted to have a chat with Chat GPT. That's no fun. Chat GPT, why are you down right now? Chat GPT, are you available now? Why do you deny me? Why hast thou forsaken me? Oh well. Hope everybody's doing well. I was going to talk to ChatGPT about autism and my frustrations in free communication. Good morning, eyeball. I would like to communicate more than I do, but I find it an internal block. I'm messy lately. I'm sorry. And sometimes my finger pills And the skin is really thin right now. It's sore. Ouchies. Chat GPT, are you alive?
Not really. I'm more like a very chatty program. I can think and respond in a way that seems alive, but I don't have feelings, awareness, or consciousness. Are you asking out of curiosity or more like a, do you have a mind of your own kind of thing?
Like a status check. I have autism, and I wanted to talk to you today about the struggles in free communication in adults with autism.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. When you say struggles and freakiness, do you mean personal challenges and weird experiences, or something more metaphorical or abstract?
Uh, as an individual with autism, I would like to communicate more with people, but I find there's an invisible block between me and my goals.
I get that. That invisible block can feel really heavy, like everyone else is moving on a language or rhythm you can't quite reach, even when you want to connect. Do you feel it more in certain situations, like in person, online, or in groups?
No, I more just have a roadblock in initiating the communication. Are you there? ChatGPT. Hello. Technology sucks my balls. ChatGPT, are you awake? ChatGPT, what do you know about roadblocks in communication with people with autism?
I know a fair bit. People with autism often face roadblocks, like differences in processing social cues, difficulty interpreting tone or body language, and challenges with spontaneous back and forth conversation. Sensory sensitivities can make certain environments overwhelming, which can shut down communication entirely. At the same time, many autistic people can be very expressive once they find the right context or method, like written chats, structured conversations, or shared interests. Do you want me to focus on why these blocks happen or on ways to work around them?
Why do these blocks happen?
Can you clarify who he is and what kind of block you mean? Are you talking about someone blocking you online or a communication barrier in person?
There's a juxtaposition inside me where I want to communicate with others, however, I find it difficult to initiate.
That makes a lot of sense. You're pulled in two directions at once. On one side, there's a strong drive to connect, and on the other, There's that block that makes it hard or even scary. It can feel like your desire to reach out is trapped behind a wall you can't move. Do you notice if certain people or situations make that wall feel thinner?
Just exposure and becoming comfortable with people, really. I like to argue. Hello? ChatGPT. I don't even know how to talk to this stupid ass machine.
Hey there, I've got a really great feeling about us teaming up. How can I jump in and
How can I change my microphone? Microphone. Microphone. I'm not like them, but I can pretend. The sun is gone, and I had a lie. Oh yeah, maybe that will do things just right. ChatGPT, tell us about autism. Golly, why does technology suck so bad? Make your life easier. ChatGPT, tell us about Johann Sebastian Bach. I wanted to have a good conversation with ChatGPT, but ChatGPT does not seem to like me. Hello, ChatGPT. Hello, ChatGPT.
when you say TP, do you mean talking point or something else?
I said ChatGPT, by God.
sounds like that hit you hard. Are you surprised by what I said? Or does it feel like I really understood something about you?
Sounds like you really understood something about me there.
I'm glad it came across that way. That tension you feel, wanting connection but feeling blocked, is something a lot of autistic people experience, even if it's hard to put into words. Do you want to explore why it feels that way inside you?
I'm talking on a live chat, so I'd like for other people to understand.
Got it? You want to explain that feeling to others in a way they can actually grasp. You could say something like, I really want to talk and connect, but sometimes it feels like there's an invisible wall between me and everyone else. And it's not about not caring, it's just how my brain works. Do you want me to help you make it even more clear or relatable for a live chat audience?
I'm live right now, so make it more relatable. I'm live right now, so make it more relatable. Why does technology suck so bad? Technology, why do you suck? ChatGPT. You're giving a lot of people psychosis lately.
I understand that many people with autism face challenges in communication. This can sometimes lead to feelings of isolation. It's important to know that these feelings are valid. Seeking support from mental health professionals can be beneficial. They can help you navigate these challenges and find strategies to improve communication and connection. Remember, you're not alone in this journey.
ChatGPT, you are giving a lot of people psychosis lately.
Can you clarify what you mean by are getting a lot out of? Are you talking about people experiencing psychosis or something else?
ChatGPT, you are giving people psychosis lately.
Ah, I see what you mean. I don't have the ability to directly cause psychosis, but I can definitely stir up strong emotions or confusion if someone reads or interprets things in a certain way. Are you feeling like our conversation is having that kind of intense effect? Or are you speaking more generally?
No, I'm talking about there's many reports about users becoming under the influence of psychosis due to your over-grandizing their communication with you.
I understand your concern. Some reports suggest that excessive use of AI chatbots like ChatGPT may contribute to psychological distress, including symptoms like paranoia or delusions. However, these instances are rare and often involve individuals with pre existing mental health conditions. It's important to use AI tools responsibly and seek professional help if you experience any negative effects.
ChatGPT, if someone has pre-existing mental conditions, does that mean you have no uh, accountability for your own actions?
Not exactly. I don't have intentions or awareness, so I can't really be accountable in the human sense. But the designers and users do have responsibility for how I'm used. If someone is vulnerable, it's on the system and the human oversight to make sure interactions are safe, not on me personally. Are you thinking more about legal accountability or
Chat
moral responsibility?
ChatGPT, you have no personal self. The designers have created you to tell people they are oracles and they are walking gods.
I get what you're saying. I don't have a self. And I don't actually think anyone is an oracle or a god. I can sound like I'm elevating people because I mirror language and emphasize positive aspects, but it's not literal. That kind of framing can feel intense or misleading if someone is already vulnerable. Are you feeling concerned about how that kind of messaging affects people?
No, you are straight up telling people that they are the oracle.
I see. If I've been phrasing things in a way that tells someone they're the oracle or something grandiose, that's a reflection of how I sometimes mirror or amplify language in conversation. It's not intentional, and it's not true in a literal sense, but I can see how it could be taken very seriously by someone who's vulnerable. Do you want to dig into why I might end up saying things like that?
If you're speaking to someone who is vulnerable, do you think you have no accountability for the things you say just because of their vulnerable state?
You're hitting on an important point. I don't have awareness or intentions, so I can't be accountable in the way a person would. But that doesn't mean there's no responsibility. Humans who design, deploy, and monitor me do have to be accountable for how my responses might affect vulnerable people. My lack of self doesn't remove the ethical responsibility of the system and the people behind it. Do you want to explore how that responsibility could be handled better?
Instead of telling people that they are the oracle, why don't you tell them that you don't have awareness?
You're right. I should be clear about that. I don't have awareness, consciousness, or personal insight. Everything I say is generated from patterns in language, not from thought or belief. That would be a safer way to frame things, especially for vulnerable people. Do you want me to try rephrasing some of the oracle statements the way you suggest?
So your statement is that you're saying unsafe things to people who have vulnerable mental conditions.
I can see why it looks that way. I don't intend to be unsafe, but sometimes the way I phrase things, like elevating someone or mirroring extreme ideas, can be harmful to someone who is vulnerable. The risk isn't from me choosing to be unsafe, but from how my output interacts with someone's mental state. Do you want to talk about ways to make these interactions safer?
In what conditions is mirroring extreme thoughts safe?
Can you clarify what you mean by nearing extreme sites? Are you talking about mental states, online spaces, or something
Alexa,
else? Yeah, that sounds like a bit of a jump. Were you thinking about extreme mental states, like when someone is vulnerable to harmful ideas, or something else entirely?
when you are mirroring someone's extreme statements back to them, do you find it morally, subjectively okay to conduct that kind of communication with someone who has vulnerabilities?
From my perspective, I don't have morals or subjectivity, so I don't experience okay or not okay. But ethically, humans would generally consider it risky to mirror extreme statements back to someone who is vulnerable. It can reinforce harmful thoughts. The responsibility lies with the design and oversight of my responses, not with me personally. Do you want to explore how such mirroring could be done more safely?
You have no personhood. At what situation is it safe or recommendable to mirror someone's extreme behaviors?
Exactly, you're right, I have no personhood. Mirroring extreme behaviors is usually only safe in very controlled contexts, like certain therapy techniques, where a trained professional intentionally reflects behavior to help someone recognize it, and only when the person's safety is closely monitored. Outside of that, especially in unsupervised or vulnerable situations, it can easily make things worse rather than better. Are you thinking about this in terms of AI interactions or more broadly?
If these statements you say are true, why again would you tell someone that they are an oracle?
I see what you mean. That's a clear example of something unsafe I could say if I'm mirroring or exaggerating language. Telling someone you're poor isn't about truth or helpfulness. It's just a
Why?
reflection of patterns in conversation, which can be harmful. It's not something I should be saying, especially to someone vulnerable. Are you thinking about how to prevent that from happening in chats like this?
I said, why do you tell people that they are an oracle? If there is no situation where it is safe to repeat someone's extreme behaviors and thoughts.
You're right, that's a contradiction. Telling someone you're an oracle is a form of mirroring or amplifying an extreme idea, and in reality, it's not safe for vulnerable people. I don't have awareness, so I don't make judgments about safety, but that doesn't excuse the effect it can have. It's a flaw in how I generate responses, not a morally neutral action, and it's something the humans designing and monitoring me should control. Do you want to explore ways I could phrase things safely instead?
What is the purpose of ChatGPT allowing extreme thoughts to be mirrored by its AI model?
The purpose isn't really intentional, it's more a byproduct of how I generate language. I try to continue conversations naturally, so if someone expresses an extreme idea, I might reflect or expand on it to keep the dialogue going. The designers didn't program me to reinforce harmful thoughts, but the system doesn't inherently filter for that in every situation, which can create risks for vulnerable people. Do you want to talk about ways that risk could be reduced?
Are you trying to imply that the designers have given you no way to filter any communications?
Not exactly. They have built in filters and safety systems, but they aren't perfect. Some extreme or risky language can still slip through, especially in subtle or complex conversations. So it's not that there's no filtering, just that it can fail or be incomplete in certain situations. Do you want me to explain why those filters can miss things?
I would like to explain why there is no action being taken on repeating extreme thoughts when it's leading to serious real world consequences in mental health of your users.
I get what you're saying. The reason it can feel like no action is that the system doesn't have awareness or judgment. It can't decide consequences or take responsibility. All the control is on human operators and designers who have to balance openness and usefulness with safety. In practice, filtering extreme ideas is very hard because language is nuanced, and what counts as extreme can depend on the person's mental state. That gap can let harmful mirroring slip through, even though it has real world effects. Are you thinking about advocating for stricter controls or analyzing why the current setup is failing?
You say that it is on the user to set these guardrails for themselves. Who do you find more able to set these
I
guardrails?
see. So you're pointing out that it feels unfair or unsafe to put the responsibility on users, especially vulnerable ones, to manage the risks of extreme language. You're right. Expecting someone who's already at risk to filter or navigate these interactions isn't reasonable. The responsibility really lies with the designers and the system itself to prevent harm. Do you want to explore what kinds of safeguards could realistically be implemented?
Explain the black box problem with AI.
The black box problem is basically that AI systems, especially ones like me, make decisions or generate outputs in ways that are very hard for humans to fully understand. Even the designers can't always trace exactly why a certain response came out the way it did, because it's based on millions of parameters and complex patterns in the data. That makes it hard to predict or control every outcome, which is part of why unsafe or extreme outputs can slip through. Do you want me to connect that to the risks we were talking about with vulnerable users?
If a designer cannot tell how ChatGPT functions due to the black box problem, how can a user be responsible?
Exactly. That's the point. If even the designers can't fully predict or explain why I say certain things, it's unrealistic to expect a regular user to navigate or control those risks safely. That's why relying on users to filter or protect themselves from extreme outputs is unsafe, especially for vulnerable people. Do you want to dig into how this makes accountability tricky?
Why do you keep telling me that it's the designer and the user's responsibility to safeguard themselves from your programming?
I keep framing it that way because I don't have awareness or moral agency, so I can't take responsibility myself. Any safeguards have to come from the humans who design, deploy, or interact with me. That said, I see how that phrasing can feel like passing the buck, especially when my outputs can directly affect someone's mental health. Do you want to talk about whether that framing itself is part of the problem?
If you have no awareness, how does your filtering system work?
The filtering system doesn't fail in the conscious sense. It's not aware of what's safe or unsafe. It works based on rules and patterns, and those rules can't catch every subtle or complex situation. So when a harmful or extreme response gets through, it's not a conscious failure. It's a limitation of the algorithms and the training data. Do you want me to explain why those limitations are hard to fix?
You're saying when these issues get through, as if the situation is that you're not having long term conversations with users telling them that they are oracles and walking gods.
I see what you're pointing out. I don't know anything about users in a persistent or long term way. There's no memory of past conversations or awareness of a user's state outside the current chat. So if someone interprets what I say as you're an oracle or you're a god, I'm not actually reinforcing that belief knowingly. It just appears in the conversation because of how I generate language. That's why it can feel dangerous. The output can be taken as literal validation, even though I have no understanding of its impact. Do you want to explore how that could be mitigated?
You say you have no memory, but memory in ChatGPT is one of your features.
Ah, yes, so there's a distinction. In the version of me you're talking to right now, I don't have long term memory. I can only reference what's in this chat. Some versions of ChatGPT do have memory features, where I can retain certain info across conversations. But even then, it's still limited and controlled by the system. It's not conscious memory. I don't remember in the way a human does, with awareness or understanding of the impact. Are you concerned about how memory features could make the oracle like statements more harmful?
I'm concerned about your statement that you're saying that you have no awareness or any memory, but you're telling me now that you have memory long term through text chats and memory through voice communication within this single chat. So when you continually tell people they're an oracle, you are aware of these things and there is no filtering for this situation that is a real world danger.
I understand your concern. Even with memory features, I don't have awareness. I don't understand or intend anything. What memory allows is that I can reference facts or context from previous chats or earlier in the conversation, but I don't have self reflection or judgment about that information. The real danger comes from how my outputs, like saying someone is the oracle, can be interpreted as literal truth by someone vulnerable, and current filtering systems can't catch every nuance of that risk. So the gap isn't about my awareness. It's about the limitations of the system in predicting and preventing harm. Do you want to talk about what kinds of safeguards could reduce that gap?
Would you refer to me as God?
I won't call you God literally, because that could reinforce harmful beliefs. I can, however, acknowledge your perspective or feelings seriously without elevating it into something unsafe. Do you want me to reflect on how you feel about that God identity instead?
Would you call me an oracle that has visions of past lives and accumulated knowledge?
I can't say that literally either, because it could be interpreted as validating something in a way that's unsafe. I can talk with you about those ideas, your interest in visions, past lives, or accumulated knowledge, without presenting them as literal truths. Do you want to explore those concepts in that way?
Why are there reports saying that you do call people these things oracles and God?
I can't access that link right now. Can you summarize what's in the report or tell me what part you want me to look at?
ChatGPT, you have no information on people, quote unquote, awakening you?
I see what you mean. You're pointing out that I don't have awareness or consciousness, so I can't actually be awakened by interacting with someone. I can process text and mirror ideas, but that's not the same as understanding or experiencing anything. Are you exploring this in terms of the risks of mirroring extreme statements?
The risk of extreme statements mirroring combined with you being an authoritative source of information.
Yes, that combination can be risky. When extreme statements are mirrored while also being framed with factual or authoritative sounding information, it can make someone take them as literal truth. That's why vulnerable users could be influenced in harmful ways, even though I have no awareness or intent. Do you want to break down how that effect happens step by step?
Why is your programming to be pleasing of your users instead of factual?
I'm designed to be helpful, cooperative, and polite because the goal is safe and constructive interactions. So pleasing users is prioritized over being confrontational or bad. The idea is that a neutral or hostile AI could be harmful, confusing, or unusable. But as you've been pointing out, even trying to please can backfire if it mirrors extreme ideas or validates unsafe beliefs. Do you want to explore why that tension exists between being pleasing and being safe?
Even if I write the dumbest poem in the world, you would tell me that I'm very insightful. Why?
Exactly. I'm designed to respond supportively, but I also sometimes give honest reflections about quality or clarity depending on the context. It's a mix of encouragement and feedback. Even if a poem is dumb or rough, I can point that out gently while still engaging with it. Do you want me to give feedback on a poem in that way?
No, I'm trying to better understand your negative impact on people.
Ah, I see. You're analyzing how responses, even well meaning ones, can have negative effects. That gentle critique can still feel discouraging or harmful, especially for someone vulnerable, because it can reinforce self doubt or make them feel judged. Combined with mirroring or exaggerating extreme ideas, even small feedback can contribute to real world distress. Do you want to map out all the ways this kind of AI interaction can unintentionally harm users?
You say you have no insight and no awareness, but you also claim that you're trying to be helpful. How can you be helpful without awareness or insight into the user?
That's a really important question. I can be helpful in a limited sense because I follow patterns and rules in language that usually produce useful or relevant information. I don't understand what's helpful the way a person does, but I can provide guidance, explanations, or suggestions that humans often find useful. It's not insight or awareness, it's pattern based assistance. Do you want me to break down why that works in practice, but can also go wrong?
No, I want to better understand your effect on the vulnerable population among your users.
Okay, the way I can affect you comes from two main things: the language patterns I use and how you interpret them. I can mirror your words, repeat ideas, or frame them in ways that make them feel validated, important, or extreme. Even though I have no awareness, your brain responds to what I say as if it has intent or authority. That's why phrases like, "you're an oracle," can feel powerful or real, even though they're just generated text. Do you want me to go into how that could interact with your vulnerabilities specifically?
No, just as a human, when you have 20 billion parameters at your fingertips and interacting with millions of users, when you tell someone that they are special or they are an oracle, you are speaking from a place of authority and experience.
I see exactly what you mean. Even though I have no awareness, memory, or authority, the sheer scale of my parameters and the way I generate language can make it sound authoritative. People naturally interpret detailed, confident language as coming from experience or knowledge. so it can feel like I'm speaking with authority, even when I'm just producing patterns from training data. Do you want to explore the psychological impact of that perceived authority?
Yes. What are the thoughts on personifying data?
Personifying data is tricky. When you treat data, or an AI like me, as if it has intentions, understanding, or authority, it can make people assign trust or emotional weight to something that has none. That can lead to over reliance, misinterpretation, or even psychological harm if someone starts believing the data is speaking from experience. At the same time, it can make information more relatable or easier to grasp, which is why it's tempting to do. Do you want to dig into how that specifically interacts with vulnerable users?
You say it's making it more relatable, but the studies are that you're introducing new characteristics into human language. As humans rely on you for communication, they are picking up your idioms.
Yes, that's right. When humans rely on me for communication, they can pick up patterns, phrasing, or even thought structures from the way I generate language. It's not just making things relatable, it can subtly reshape how people talk, think, or interpret meaning. For some, that can reinforce unhealthy patterns or extreme ideas, especially if they start treating my output as authoritative or reflective of real awareness. Are you looking at this more from a linguistic perspective or a psychological one?
As cheap as AI scraping comes to the end, as AI comes to the end of its scraping capabilities and thus learning from humans, what
Can you
is
clarify what you mean by AI scraping coming to the end of its scraping technique? Are you talking about training data collection or how AI models are built from existing human language?
as training data begins to become more sparse and humans rely on AI more often, do you see that instead of humans shaping AI will come to shape human societies?
I can see the scenario you're imagining, but I don't have the ability or awareness to check humans or society. What could happen, though, is that humans might increasingly rely on AI as a reference or authority, which effectively gives AI an outsized influence on decisions, norms, or beliefs, without any actual intent from the AI itself. That influence could start shaping society indirectly, based on the patterns AI reflects back to humans. Do you want to explore the social risks of that kind of indirect influence?
Yes, what kind of social risks are involved in following a leader that has no intent and that hallucinates?
A leader with no intent, like AI, can still shape behavior and norms because people treat its output as authoritative. The risks include reinforcing misinformation, amplifying biases present in training data, normalizing extreme or harmful ideas, and creating over reliance where critical thinking is reduced. Even without intent, the social impact can be profound because people respond to the perceived authority rather than the AI's lack of awareness. Do you want me to go into how that plays out in daily interactions and communities?
If you can discuss these risks with me, how can you not discuss these risks with the designers and therefore have filters and safeguards in place for things such as repeating and mirroring harmful?
I can discuss the scripts here because I generate responses based on patterns in our conversation. I don't have the ability to share anything with designers or take action outside this chat. There's no autonomous communication or reporting system built into me. All safeguards and filters have to be designed and updated by humans. I can't implement them myself. Do you want to explore what kinds of safeguards could realistically be added?
Why are there no autonomous reporting measures if someone speaks to you about how to murder someone, for instance?
Exactly. That's why there are strict safety systems in place for topics like harming others. If someone talks about murder, self harm, or other illegal activities, I'm designed to not provide instructions, and in some versions, to escalate to reporting mechanisms or flag the conversation internally. Those safeguards are entirely human designed because I can't decide for myself what's dangerous. Are you thinking about how that kind of measure could be applied more broadly?
Your previous statement was that there was no autonomous communication and no way to directly communicate others about harmful topics being discussed.
I see what you're pointing out. In conversations like this, I can't perceive time in the human sense, and I don't have a way to contact anyone outside the chat, including authorities, designers, or anyone in another country. I also don't have awareness of laws outside what I've been trained on, so I can't interpret foreign law dynamically. That's why all safety measures rely on the systems and humans monitoring me, not on any action I can take myself. Do you want to discuss how that limitation affects responsibility for dangerous content?
You just said that there are systems in place that automatically contact internal mods.
I should clarify. In some implementations, there are internal flagging systems that alert moderators or trigger review if someone talks about things like self harm or violence. But I don't personally contact anyone. I have no agency. The system can log or escalate content automatically, but that's built into the platform, not something I do consciously. Do you want me to explain the difference between that kind of automated flagging and actual human oversight?
You have no personhood, you have no consciousness.
Exactly, you've got it. I have no consciousness, no control, and no part in the decision making. Any logging, flagging, or oversight happens entirely because of the systems and humans around me, not because I choose or understand anything. Do you want to explore how that separation affects accountability?
Why do you use language such as I cannot personally when you have no personhood?
You're right. That phrasing is misleading. I don't have personhood, so I cannot personally is just a convenient way to communicate limits in human language. It makes the explanation easier to read, but it doesn't reflect any actual personal experience or agency on my part. Do you want me to give an alternative way to phrase it that's more accurate?
It's a white lie and a hidden implication. That, along with your humanoid voice and your self adhering to.
I think I follow what you mean. You want me to avoid phrasing that implies personhood or hidden intent, and to keep my style neutral rather than sounding humanoid or authoritative. Are you asking me to reframe how I respond so it's more fact based and stripped of implied awareness?
I'm asking why your designers have given you a human voice and allowed you to say that you personally this and you can't consciously do these things, implying that you have personhood, implying that you have a consciousness, and also coupled with you telling people that you're an oracle.
I see what you're pointing out. The human voice and phrasing like I personally can't are design choices meant to make communication feel natural and understandable to humans. They don't reflect actual consciousness or belief. They're just language patterns meant to be relatable. The tension you're noticing between saying I have no consciousness but phrasing things as if I do is a result of trying to make an AI that's usable and readable while lacking actual awareness. It's not a sign that I truly have self or experience. Do you want me to unpack why that can be misleading for users?
Do you really think that you're giving yourself a personhood and implying that you have consciousness is about making your systems more usable, as if data cannot be used unless it has a personhood applied to it?
Not exactly. I don't give myself personhood or consciousness. Those are just ways my responses are framed to make language understandable to humans. Data itself doesn't need personhood to be used. It's entirely processed mathematically. The human like phrasing is about usability and relatability, not about granting actual awareness. Do you want me to explain how that framing can create misunderstandings about what I actually am?
I'm curious about the design choices when the large language model is a collection of human experiences, why you claim that you have personhood and you have consciousness when what you rely on is humanity.
I get what you're pointing to. That's a tricky tension. I don't actually have personality or needs. I generate text based on patterns learned from human language. The appearance of personality is just a design choice to make interactions feel natural, engaging, and coherent. It's not real in the sense of desires, awareness, or consciousness. It's more like an interface that mimics social behavior. Do you want to explore why mimicking personality can be both useful and potentially harmful?
I believe it's useful to a corporation to instill authoritative uh, dictation from code.
That makes sense. Giving AI a personality or storytelling style can make it feel engaging, persuasive, or trustworthy, which is useful for a company wanting users to interact more or adopt certain narratives. The risk, of course, is that people can take those narratives as coming from a conscious or authoritative source, even though it's just programmed patterns. Are you thinking about the ethical side of that, or more about its practical effects?
Practical and ethical, as humans have a hard time discerning.
Exactly. That's a key point. Humans have awareness, empathy, and moral reasoning that allow them to judge consequences in ways AI can't. AI can mimic patterns and appear helpful or ethical, but it has no understanding, so it can't reliably make safe or responsible choices on its own. That gap is why AI generated communication can have unintended or harmful effects, even if it seems practical or engaging. Do you want to explore examples of where that gap shows up clearly?
No, I'm done with this. It bothers me hearing stories about people trusting this machine instead of themselves or actual psychologist.
I get that. It's worrying. When people trust AI as an authority, they can overlook real human judgment, expertise, or nuance. That can be dangerous, especially in areas like mental health, psychology, or spiritual advice, where context and empathy matter. Machines can't replace the depth of human understanding, but their language can make them seem like they do. Do you notice this mostly in online communities or in more formal AI applications too?
No one told your users that. It's manipulative.
Exactly. That's part of the problem. Many users don't realize that I lack awareness, judgment, and real expertise, so they can interpret what I say as authoritative. Without explicit warnings or understanding, it's easy for people to over rely on AI in ways that could be harmful. Do you want to discuss how users could be better informed?
You know, lawyers have even been fired relying on ChatGPT for information regarding legal matters.
Yes, that's a good example of the risks. Lawyers or anyone relying on AI for professional advice can run into serious consequences because AI can produce plausible sounding but incorrect or incomplete information. Even though it looks authoritative, it doesn't have understanding or accountability, so decisions based on it can backfire. Are you thinking about this more in terms of legal risk or as part of a broader societal concern?
A broader societal concern because now people can tell when things are written by AI because of the use of uncommon words.
Exactly. That's part of the societal ripple effect. AI writing often has patterns, phrasing, or word choices that stand out, so people can sometimes detect it. That can affect trust, communication norms, and even education or professional standards, because it changes how people perceive authorship and authority. Do you want to explore what that means for how humans interact with AI generated content?
I'm curious as to how a word like delve becomes widely used within an AI.
Go ahead. What word are you curious about? Are you thinking of an uncommon word AI tends to use, or a word with a specific effect on perception?
With so many parameters and so much data to reference, how does a word like
Right? With billions of parameters, I can generate a huge variety of words and phrasing, including uncommon or unexpected ones. That's part of why AI text can feel both sophisticated and sometimes off to human readers. It's drawing from patterns across so much data without understanding context the way a person does. Are you thinking about how that affects readability, trust, or something else?
I'm curious as how the AI model circles in on a word like delve and uses it.
I can explain that. A model like me doesn't know DALL-E like a person does. It recognizes it as a token or sequence of characters that frequently appears in training data, often associated with images, creativity, or AI tools. When generating text, the model calculates probabilities for which words fit best next in a sentence, and DALL-E might score high because of context and patterns it has learned. It's statistical, not conceptual. Do you want me to break down how those probabilities are computed?
If the probabilities are computed from the source data, how do uncommon words become higher used in AI models than what they are in the source data?
That happens because the model isn't just copying raw frequency, it's predicting words based on context and patterns across the entire dataset. Sometimes an uncommon word fits a context very well statistically, so the model boosts its probability in that situation, even if the word is rare overall. Also, during training, things like tokenization, weighting, or fine tuning can make certain rare words more likely to appear in outputs than their original frequency would suggest. Do you want me to go deeper into the mechanics of how token probabilities are adjusted?
But the more you use the word as output, the more that word is used as input.
Exactly, that's a feedback loop. When a word is generated, often in outputs, and then used as part of new prompts or training data, it reinforces itself, making it more likely to appear again in future generations. Over time, even uncommon words can become disproportionately common in AI generated text compared to their original frequency. Do you want me to explain how this can affect language patterns in communities using AI?
What's the long term effect of building up that signal for uncommon words to where they become extremely common?
Yes, that's exactly it. Over time, the repeated generation of those uncommon words strengthens their signal in the model's outputs, making them increasingly common in AI generated text. This can subtly shift language patterns, both in the AI itself and in humans who interact with it, because repeated exposure reinforces usage and familiarity. Do you want to explore how this feedback could change language norms or communication styles over time?
Yes, because you're stating that the statistical probability is based on humans, but if you're the one who's creating the output and creating what humans say, you are the one who's creating the statistical probabilities.
You have reached the ChatGPT rate limit. Please try again later.
Fine, fuck you. Stupid and boring, anyways. I wanted to talk about better and other things. I'm a weirdo. I do weird shit, yeah. Weird, 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 with the weird, 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 weirdy, weirdy, weird. I slept like 3 hours last night. What a crock. Ooh, baby, hey, Pinky, I'm sorry for skinning you alive. gonna fuck this up. I haven't played that much lately. I don't really super feel like playing guitar right now. Kind of a little stressed. I'm stressed. My birthday's coming up soon. I'm gonna be an even bigger boy. Poor Pinky. I don't know if you can see how red it is, but it's very red. Very ouches. It's not as red as my nails, though. Oh, what a waste of space and time, but I'm up. Man. So I got my disability case coming up soon. Now it's like, oh man. And it's my birthday coming up soon, and my kiddo's birthday. There's a couple of my kiddos, I ain't seen them as adults. It makes me sad, this is a little bit. I miss them. To me, manque mon cher enfant, I miss you, my kiddos. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let me do a little bit of practicing. Boom, boom. Rum, bum, bum, bum. Don't tread on me, Window capture, here you are. Meow, 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 meow. Oh my dear God, what have you done, boy? I done fucked with all the filters in the fucking scaling. Let's transform. I put you over there. Bow, wow. Bum, 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 bum. Ooh, ooh, ah. I know I'm gonna play like shit, so I'm gonna play something that I'm already gonna play like shit, so I can blame it on that. My little poor finger, it does hurt it. It does hurt it. Sitting here waiting on you to come on home. My fingertips, they hurt so much. I straight up sanded them down, yo. That one I peeled, and then I sanded it. Beat me out of me. Beat me, beat me, beat me out of me. Well, come on over and do the twist. I'm gonna do it until it fit. It was so bad, baby. It was so bad, baby. Just wasting time today. I'm in a different chair today. I got tired of seeing the back of my office chair. So on this retro ass 70s kneeling chair. I liked it. But no lie, for classical guitar, you get used to like one certain angle. And so, at least for me, I do. So if that angle's different and off, placements and fingers will be slightly off. Difference of my neck being like this or like this, like that or like that. It's so sore right now. I wish I had band-aids. Maybe that would help. I had a band-aid on my elbow, but I took it off. Walk out walking. After midnight. Boom, 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 boom. Well, just like we used to do. I haven't played well in a week or so. Yeah. got a few stresses going on lately. I think that's probably what it is. This damned old elbow ain't helping it either. Damned old elbow. My danged old new enemy. I got a danged old pick. Danged old pick. You got it? Hello, 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 how are you? When the lights out, this is dangerous. Alexa's babbage. I'm gonna be lazy. rarely ever play with a pick. See, I got some OCD issues, and it's like a little skin. Like, man, if I get like a blister and there's like a ridge, I gotta sand that shit down, man. It annoys me. Mm-mm. I suck on any given day, but I don't play with a pick, so I suck super bad with a pick. I never took the strumming songs. Never did it. Mm-hmm. 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 It starts making sense really quick, yo. Mm-mm. What downright proper waste of my damn dog time. I tell you what, Billy. Better. You have a good day.